We're going to write a method rearrange, and it's going to take a queue of integers as its parameter. So let's start this off as a public static. We'll call it rearrange. We're going to have our queue inside of here. It's going to be type integer, and we'll just call it queue. So this should be our header. We do still need a return though. It's going to rearrange the order of the values so the even values appear before our odd values, and otherwise it'll preserve the original order of our list. So public static void seems to be the return because we're just modifying, not actually returning anything. So inside of here, what we're going to want to do is just edit this. And the way we're going to be able to do that is, first, notice we can use a stack as auxiliary storage. That's going to be very helpful. We'll have a stack. It's going to be of type integer. Call it s equal to a new stack where our type is integer. And this is going to be our stack that we can use. I'm going to take all of the odd values in here. We're going to run through this. We're going to take all of the odd values and we're going to put them in our stack. Once they're inside of our stack, we are going to want to append it to the back. We put all of our odd values in here, and then we're going to want to put them in the back here. There is a problem with this though, because remember, queues are first in, first out, while stacks are first in, last out. If we put all of our odd values in our stack, it's going to be the reverse order for this. So what we can do is come back inside of our queue, move these to the stack again, and then and then move it back to our queue. If that doesn't make any sense, we'll code it out. So again, we want to run through this twice. We're going to do this as long as int a, some arbitrary value is equal to 0, and we want to run this again twice. So we'll just have a++. This will be our outer for loop. And then inside of here, you're going to want to have another for loop that actually runs through this entire part right here. We don't want to do it as long as our queue is not empty, because our queue is never going to be empty, at least it shouldn't be. So we're going to do int b is equal to 0, so another value, and we're going to do b is less than. Now note that our queue size is always going to be changing, so we should have a variable up here that stores the queue size. We'll call it size, and we'll set it equal to queue.size, so we get the original size. That's what we care for. So b has to be less than size, and then we'll just do b++. That way we can run through this entire thing. Now let's check if it's even or if it's odd. Remember, if it's odd, we are going to want to push it to our stack. Otherwise, we're just going to move it back to the end of our queue, and that's going to eventually bring it back to the front. So let's do with the even case first. If queue.peak, so this is going to check the first value but not remove it. That's what a peak will do. If we do queue.peak, and we also need parentheses for this, modulus 2 is equal to 0. This means it's even, and we'll just do a queue.add and then queue.remove. So we're going to remove the front of our queue and add it to the back. Otherwise, it's going to be odd, and we're going to do s.push, so we're pushing to our stack, and we're going to have our queue.remove. So we're going to want to remove the front value, but again, since it's odd, we have to push it to our stack. Now, once we're done with this, we're going to want to add it all back into our queue. And so we'll do a while loop, and this time it's going to be while our s dot is empty, because we're emptying out our stack. We're going to do queue.add and then a s dot pop. So we're moving it here. Remember, the reason why we're doing this twice is because once we pop it off, it's going to be in the reverse order. And that's pretty much it. Once we run through this again, it's going to take all of the odd numbers out, put it back in our stack. This time it's going to be the reverse order, so when we put it back in, it'll be the correct order. So that'll that'll complete our method. Let me add the correct semicolon. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments below. If you want more problems, they're in the playlist link below the like button. You can do them together, more practice problems, and that's 7 out of 7 tests passed. That's how we do exercise 14.6 rearrange.